Bungie, the creators of Destiny, are now at the center of one of the most blatant video game plagiarism scandals we've seen in years. And the game involved, Marathon, the same Marathon that was supposed to be Bungie's bold return to PvP shooters. But instead of praise, Bungie is facing serious backlash for copying the work of a small independent artist. And there's proof. Screenshots, comparisons, even a hidden Easter egg. This isn't just inspired by. This is copy, paste, and publish. And the worst part, it's not the first time. Today, we're diving deep into the Marathon plagiarism controversy, Bungie's response, the internal chaos at the studio, and why this story might change the game's future, and possibly Bungie's reputation forever. Bungie has built its name on innovation. From Halo to Destiny and now Marathon, they've shaped entire genres. But Marathon isn't a sequel or spiritual successor. It's a rebooted extraction shooter in a genre that's just starting to find its footing. Think Tarkov, Hunt, Showdown, and DMZ-style gameplay. It's competitive, it's looty, and it's risky. When Sony acquired Bungie, this was one of the flagship projects. But with every new reveal, Marathon has been met with lukewarm reception. Players aren't hyped. Previews haven't wowed. Internally, Bungie's morale is reportedly at an all-time low. And just when things couldn't get worse, they did. Enter Anti-Real, an independent artist who has been creating surreal, dystopian, cyberpunk-style poster art since 2017. One day, she opens up social media and sees Bungie's Marathon reveal. The art style, the motifs, the layout. It's not just similar to her work, it is her work. Anti-Real began sharing side-by-side comparisons. Arrows, geometric structures, color palettes, all ripped straight from her original posters. One Marathon texture even still had her handle faintly visible. And most damning of all, a hidden Easter egg. Years ago, Anti-Real embedded a meme reference to the infamous Lost comic into her design, a meme made up of abstract vertical and horizontal lines. That same exact design, with the hidden Lost comic strip layout, shows up in Marathon. Same alignment, same proportions, same everything. This wasn't inspiration. This was plagiarism. Before we move on, if you want to try the latest games without breaking the bank, GameFly lets you rent physical copies and have them delivered right to your door. Click the link in the description to learn more and start your free trial. The internet caught fire, and Bungie responded quickly. In an official statement, they admitted that one of their former artists had used Anti-Real's work without authorization. This artist had apparently embedded the stolen work into texture sheets that made it into the alpha build of the game. Bungie claims the current team was unaware. They've since reached out to Anti-Real, promised to do the right thing, and initiated a full audit of the assets created by that former employee. Bungie emphasized that their policy prohibits using third-party art without permission, and that new safeguards are being implemented to prevent this from happening again. But the damage was done, and this case was just the tip of the iceberg. You'd think a studio like Bungie would have learned from past mistakes. But this isn't their first plagiarism incident. In fact, this is at least the fourth known case. In 2021, Bungie used a fan's Destiny art in a trailer without permission. In 2023, they allegedly copied Julian Felona's digital design for a Destiny 2 cutscene. In 2024, they were caught using another artist's concept for a Nerf gun replica. These weren't isolated accidents. They suggest a pattern of negligence when it comes to sourcing and crediting artwork. It's one thing to be inspired, it's another to steal. And Bungie isn't just copying tiny details. They're using this material in trailers, marketing campaigns, and official websites. One of the textures based on Anti-Real's work was even used in the game's ARG event. In her statements, Anti-Real made one thing heartbreakingly clear: she's tired. Tired of having her work harvested, repurposed, and paraded by billion-dollar companies while she can't make a consistent living. In 10 years, she says, I have never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasiticing my designs while I struggle. She also admitted she doesn't have the legal or financial resources to sue Bungie, even though she has a rock-solid case. And let's be honest, if Bungie really wanted to make things right, they wouldn't just apologize. They'd hire her, compensate her, and spotlight her vision. Because let's face it, Marathon is built on her style. Following the backlash, internal reports started to leak. And the picture they paint isn't pretty. According to Forbes and other sources, morale inside Bungie has cratered. One insider described the mood as, "The vibes have never been worse." The Marathon team, already nervous about the game's reception, is now watching their project become a lightning rod for controversy. Developers were blindsided. Trust is fractured. And to make matters worse, Bungie reportedly pulled a major trailer reveal planned for June, likely to avoid more public backlash. And while the game is still officially targeting a September release, insiders say a delay might be on the table. The reality is that Marathon was already a hard sell. Extraction shooters are crowded and competitive. Games like Escape from Tarkov and Hunt, Showdown have dedicated communities and unique identities. Marathon, so far, hasn't shown anything particularly special. The gameplay looks fine. The concept is okay. But in a post-Apex, post-Warzone world, okay isn't good enough. Now add this scandal on top, and the pressure becomes overwhelming. Even if Bungie delays the game, the question is no longer, can Marathon be good? It's, will anyone care? The comparisons to Sony's Concord aren't helping either. That game also got flamed for looking generic. And now people are lumping Marathon into the same forgettable multiplayer game pile. So what's the bottom line here? At a time when Bungie desperately needs a win, whether to prove the Sony acquisition was worth it, or to show they can succeed beyond Destiny, Marathon's launch window is now overshadowed by a serious creative scandal. And not just any scandal. This isn't a case of an artist being inspired by another's style. This is a proven, documented act of plagiarism that made it into official game assets, internal builds, and even promotional materials. That's a colossal failure on multiple levels, artistically, legally, and ethically. The most damning part is the inclusion of the lost meme Easter egg. That alone confirms someone at Bungie wasn't just borrowing from Antareal's designs. They were replicating her work line by line, detail by detail, and inserting it with no attribution, no permission, and no oversight. This wasn't an accident. It was embedded knowledge of her work, used without respect. And while Bungie has issued a public apology and is conducting an internal audit, this comes off less like genuine accountability and more like damage control. Because when you look deeper, this is far from an isolated incident. Bungie has been caught doing this multiple times over the last few years, reusing fan art in trailers, copying other artists' designs for merchandising, and lifting creative work from independent creators without credit. The pattern is there, and it's undeniable. If you're an artist watching this situation hits a nerve. Antareal spoke for many when she said, "In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work. I'm tired of being mood-boarded by big studios while I struggle to survive." That's not just frustration. It's a cry for fairness in an industry that often sees creative labor as disposable. When billion-dollar studios treat grassroots creators like a free asset library, it signals something deeply broken in gaming culture. Now, let's talk about the game itself. Marathon was already in a precarious spot. It's an extraction shooter, an overcrowded, high-risk genre that only a few games have done right. Escape from Tarkov and DMZ have their niches, but none have truly broken through the way battle royales once did. Marathon needed to be bold, different, and polished to stand out. Instead, all we've seen so far is a vague art style, lukewarm gameplay leaks, and now a controversy that undermines its entire identity. Worse still, the studio's morale is at an all-time low, and according to insider reports, the vibes have never been worse. Imagine working on a new project, already worried about whether fans will embrace it, only to learn your work is tainted by plagiarism. That's not just a PR issue, it's an internal culture problem. And with the recent cancellation of their June trailer and concerns about sticking to the September release, it's clear that leadership is scrambling behind the scenes. So what does this all mean? It means that Marathon, even before it hits store shelves, is fighting uphill on every front: reputation, market relevance, internal trust, and now artistic credibility. Bungie needs to ask themselves some hard questions, not just about hiring better oversight for art teams, but about whether their leadership structure, creative process, and IP management still reflect the values they once stood for. Can Marathon recover from this? Sure, in theory. Bungie has the talent and resources to course correct, but that window is closing fast. Gamers don't forget plagiarism, and artists certainly won't. Every texture, every environment, every trailer from here on out will be picked apart with a microscope. They'll need to win over both their audience and their internal teams again, and that's a tall order. At the end of the day, this controversy isn't just about a few stolen textures. It's about trust. And Bungie, right now, is running low on that most critical resource. What do you think about this situation? Should Bungie delay Marathon and overhaul its art direction? Or is the damage already done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, if you want to play great games without dropping $70 every time, check out GameFly. Rent the latest titles, delivered straight to your door. Links in the description. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more deep dives coming on everything from gaming lawsuits to developer controversies. This is What's Up Nerd Insider. Thanks for watching.